Oh, whoa! Hello. I am Coral. And this is Vault of the Void. A game that I have been spamming a lot of when I am not on stream. I particularly love a lot of card builders because they are games that I can play with only one hand. And of all the card builders that I have played and have been playing of recently, Slay the Spire, Vault of the Void itself, and the other one, which is Roguebook, this one is one that I think anyone can actually get into and play. It is fairly simple, and I'm going to show you, because this is what I'm going to be doing until 6 o'clock. So, very simple game. You've got Introduction, your tutorial, Normal, Hard, Impossible, and Impossible Plus. The game is a 3-stage system. You pick your characters, you get the chance to do extra shit, and you have unlocks in the compendium that teach you how to do shit, but I'm just going to walk you through it, and we're going to be into it. I've been playing enough that I actually have a streak going. And it is just as simple as think about what your character wants to do and have fun doing it. And it has a mastery system where once you get to the end game of what it does, you have the ability to master a card, and every single run you get to cycle through those cards with the ability to either pick the cards that you have mastered before or always having your health potion available. Since I've been playing a bit, I've been able to much think about how to do it. You get to figure out what you're going to be facing when you get to floor 3, with all of these blessings giving different effects. And then a random starting ability with all the things you have. So, at the start of every run, you get to pull a booster, and whatever is in that booster dictates what you're going to be picking here on this screen. It is very formulaic in that way. I wouldn't say that it's a flowchart, but it can be just as simple as, what feels good. So, the way that cards work in this game is you have a Voidstone bar, and every single point of damage that you do to enemies, both with on-hit damage and stat effect damage, so poison, will be able to stack up the amount to when you get a new Voidstone. And each of these Voidstones does something different. The one that I have on the bar is block 4, which means whenever I put that into a card, it will do the block along with the ability of that card. So, from the start screen, the strongest choices you have available here, you have random stone, random common artifact, and random potions. Realistically, out of all these choices, artifact is always good, and stone is always good. Potion is very, very situational, depending on what you can get, because it's not like you're not going to have the opportunities to get potions. But we're going to go artifact, end up pulling living blood. When I lose health, trigger on my bleed. Super great. And another thing about how this works is that because this is a card builder, the game will show you on your map rewards what choices you have available. You see here the choices that you're going to be able to use, and a lot of them look nice. Like, for example, each time an enemy plans an attack action, gain a hidden blade as a buff, super strong. Dagger World, super strong. And a couple of these are just cards that fill and can be good along the way, like Dueling Buckler, for example. Then, of course, you get your starting cards, you're able to set things up in the beginning, and decide how you want them to play. With this hand, and with this deck, I have a deck full of bleeds, and what I want is to build as much agility as I can, while also making it really hard for the enemy to fuck with me. It's kind of simple in that way. You basically look at these cards as strikes and blocks. You want to replace every strike and every block in your hand with something that does something effective, unless keeping a strike would be good. So, in this case, First Blood pickup for an attack card, something extra for an extra agility card. Oop, I did not mean to drop that one. Drop before the throat, 4,000 cuts. And agility to get max combo. This is more than enough to go along. We're going to hold on to this blocks because we don't have anything we can actually put it in that we want to put it in. And in this situation, we're looking for a card that is swift, because swift cards will be played twice along with our combo. So we don't have one that's good. Preferably you want to put in something that's 0 cost. And looking at the options we have here, I realistically want to go to a place that's going to be good. because this is a shrine, this is a dark mime, this is a spell child, that's a soul collector, that's a treasure, and that's another shrine. I want to do something like this because those arrows are upgrades, and I also want to touch this cursed item, but if I do, I won't be able to go to certain places because as you progress, the floor will give away underneath you. So you have to be mindful with the choices and options you make. In this situation, I don't really care about building steam. It's a really nice card to start out with, but it's not something that I want. This First Blood has a block 4 in it already, so I'll definitely take that. And the first fight is always normal. This is really where you get to figure out how your build's going to work and what your card's going to do. Very, very simple. Kind of start and open here. I'm looking to bleed people out as much as I possibly can. And I'm not trying to give them an opportunity to live. So for example, she's going to heal people. I don't want that to happen. I'm going to bleed people. And the way that you deal damage and you get damage dealt to you in this game is instead of it being dealt directly to your health, you instead take what's called threaten. So it tells you the amount that you have to block for. And with cards like From the Shadows, you want to look to get rid of much threat as possible to remain perfect, because it will give you better benefits for doing so. And along the way, you're looking to balance those effects that will become better with time. So for example, if I upgrade a From Shadow, instead of it being an opener, which is what the tag explains it as, it will instead always allow me to rebound a card, as well as blocking an extra 2 points. The points of block is not what's important. What's important is the effect that goes with it. So I'm going to be looking to make upgrades and choices like that along the way. Same thing applies to the draw blood. So now, it's really just a beat down to kill them as fast as possible, and you can move and make choices really fast in this. It can literally be just as simple as, boom, bada bing, boom, pow. That easy. Then, once you do perfect, you get some extra essence. It's a little nice bonus that you can try to aim for every time. Then after every combat, you want to look at what you're doing and ask yourself if you want to do something different. In this situation, I'm looking to be a little bit dank with how I do things. So I'm going to drop another draw blood for an underhanded tactics, mainly because it's swift. I don't need to have 2 for the throats because I don't have any real use for them. Because if I were to, I'd try using a Void Stone, because I'd like to increase the amount of energy that I gain. Situation, looking here. If I go to this shrine, I can have the choice to get the ability to pray, to have more essence and soul, which is effectively money. But if I go this way, I can still have the opportunity to take this cursed item. And Bloodlust is a swift block, and I want to have that because that also has overcharge. Sometimes when you look at the options, the choices will be easily made for you. Now we are looking, and we really just want to open this as best as possible. Doing something like that. I can just play this very safe here. I just hold this card. I don't really have to care about the damage that's being done to me by the Cinderhound. It doesn't really matter. So now, Doesn't really matter. I could have held that card, but I didn't really want to. Because the way how this game uses the draw system, you always will draw 5 cards, but the way that you can gain energy is by holding right-click, as you've been seeing me do, to do what's called purging. When you purge a card, you get energy back for every 1 card you use, unless you are under the effect of something else. But you can only have as much energy as my max energy, which is what Overcharge will allow me to solve. And in this case, we're using a deck that goes off combo. And with this combo, what I want is that when I'm ever using a card that will use this, I want it to be more effective that way. So in a situation like this, what I'm going to want to do is something like this. And then just try and balance things as I can keep going. So now we have a first upgrade point. First upgrade point is going to want to always go to your buffs. In this case, something extra is going to increase my ability to be a lot more annoying to my enemy. But at the same time, I have a card that will then go to 0 cost, which is agility. In this kind of situation, I want to make my 0 cost cards get upgraded first, because they become a lot more annoying when I do that. At the same time, we're going to take 1 Evade and replace it with a Bloodlust. And this Bloodlust is very, very, very big as a candidate for a couple of Voidstones here. It is a candidate for Red Voidstone, it's a candidate for Blue Voidstone, and it's a candidate for Yellow and for Purple. Namely because cards with 1, 2, 3 cost are cards that you want to either have trigger multiple times, or cards that you want to give you increased damage, or want to give you the ability to draw. In this situation, blocking for 4 and overcharging for 1, I think I'm going to try out using Bluestone on it. In situations with cards like First Blood, because this came with 1, it's fine, but if I were to use this card, I'd actually want to place it with a Rage. Once I get a Blackstone for this, which is going to be the second one after this Red Void, I'm going to stick that onto my agility. That way I can use the Ghost to get a volatile copy, which effectively means I get to duplicate this card in my hand. So I'll be always able to raise my combo by 2 every turn I pull it. And this was the situation I was talking about here. So the way that this map works is that in situations like this, everything that is in this quadrant behind me will be removed. And that's fine, because really what I'm looking for is I want to do a move like this, or I move to an item. Every 10 cards played, deal 10 damage to all enemies. That's really good, especially for a starter card. So we're going to take the Void, and then I get to move here into this treasure. So instead of taking that way where I lose both of them, I can instead just go there, and I'm fine. And that's super, 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 super good. So now, I'm at a Quick Miss and a Juggle in my treasure room. 1000 Cuts is really shitty as a card. It only works in the beginning because it's a card that gives you a lot of bleed really fast. That's all it's used for. That's all I care about it for. With Hidden Blade, this gives me draw and discard, which is very powerful, especially when you have things in your deck that you don't want to deal with. So, for example, that Void that I just picked up is going to always be in my hand, and it's going to make me fucking suffer every single time I have it. The only thing that is increased and made better by this Void is that because this is in my hand, using things like Juggle becomes easier. Because now, if I don't want to use that, or if I don't want to see that in my hand, because I can't destroy it, it's considered as a volatile card. Which means I cannot purge it, which is just what happens to Afflictions. The only way to get rid of it is to expel it from my deck. And to expel it, I'd have to pay the cost for it, or I'd need to get a card that can expel it out of my hand and out of my deck for me every combat. I don't want to do that, because I can just pray it out of my hand in a shrine. So, the next best thing from destroying it or expelling it is to constantly discard it for free. So, Juggle is going to be bid here. If I didn't already have Agility, which increases my max combo by 1 every turn, as well as doing combo 1, I would also take it, because then I can stick a ghost on it, and it's going to do shit for me. So that's nice. Realistically, agility is just a better version of quickness, but both of them are fine to have if you want to have them. But I would not pick quickness over juggle. Now, while we're here, and now we look at the backpack, and we look at what we have. Eventually, I feel like I'll get juggle put up here, because I like putting bluestone in this, because now I get to draw 4 and discard 4, which is a really powerful way to look through my hand really fast. I still have a Blessed Recovery, which allows me to have Purging and Healing on 1, which is really nice when I want to just pull through my shit and use it for energy. But I think the next thing that I'm going to do here is either I'm going to follow through on Bloodlust, because the Clot effect is what controls whether or not I can overcharge, or I'm going to look into something extra, or I'm going to look into From Shadow. In this situation, I want to use my Swift immediately, and I want it to be powerful immediately. So I'm going to throw that on there. And now we're looking at Corrupted Ogre, who's going to be really annoying. So in this situation, we're going to try and speed through this combat as quickly as we possibly can. So on turn 1, we're going to use this. We're going to be swinging for this man's neck constantly. In this situation, we are going to wit of those 2 cards, because I can't do anything else with it. Can't do anything on this turn either, which sucks. We're going to play From Shadow so we can get its effect, and then I'm going to expel 1. I'm going to overcap on energy, which sucks, but I need to do that because Daze is going to leave my hand, and now I can pull 3 cards. So now that we're in this situation, I can evade twice. Play 1,000 Cuts. And it's just going to start ramping like that. So now it becomes a balancing act in these combats. Every single combat is a balancing act, but in this kind of situation, it will be as simple as, what do I do next? So, now that we've blocked all the damage that we have incoming, I'm going to keep a block card in hand, because you really should. And instead, I'm going to start looking what I'm going to want to do here with my shit. So, I'm at 1 combo, and I have my combo coming up in a turn. So what I can look to do here is I can look to play Underhanded Tactic. It's going to give him no weak, because he's not attacking, which is fine. I'm going to purge this next energy. Let him roar. He's going to start attacking me now. Bring my combo back up again. Going to purge this evade. And I'm going to play something extra. I'm going to hold. Because I have extra energy coming in. It's not going to matter what I do here, because it's going to block for me anyways. Agility comes up. I'm going to sack this. For 3. I should have used that energy, that's fine, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to use the effect of Living Blood here. Trigger the damage on him. He's going to take extra damage, and now he has only 9 points of health left. In situation, I can just do this number, and man's dead. I don't have to play it like that, but I choose to play it like that because it's the smartest thing I can do. Now in this situation, we have a bigger shield block card. I want to upgrade this immediately, because now I'm looking at upping my block value by a lot. And every time I remove a block card, I want to replace it with a block card that's really powerful. With Shield Bash, because of the fact that it applies vulnerable, I'd probably stick a Rage in this. Otherwise, you can just pick Overcharge or Lose Void. It's always going to be good. I would never put a Black in this because you're not usually going to have 2 energy to spare after casting this for 2. Unless you're just lucky like that. Here on Draw Blood, I'm going to take it out because it actually gives me a damage card in the form of a Hidden Blade. And now we are at a crossroads where we have to choose between buying items for Essence or going to buy a new spell. I would rather buy a new spell here because I already have combo, and all this spell does is give me combo and apply weak. And I have a way to get combo and to get weak. So I want a new spell. That's going to be good. Recur, not interesting. Cripple, not interesting. Invert, block X equal to the number of cards in the discard, while swapping my deck and my discard, which allows me to get block on a button click. That feels good, so I'm going to take it. I'm going to swap it. And another thing about spells is that you want to have as many spells as the game allows you to have. Not necessarily going out of your way to find them, but you want to have them there. Because every single time you go into a combat with one spell, the other spell's cooling down. So if there's a spell you want for a boss, take that spell. If there's one that you want to have just for reasons, take that one. It's really up to you and how you want to play it. And now, at this point of the floor, this is where you need to start making decisions. I have a void, so I want to purge it. And at the same time of wanting to purge it, I also want the Spookster pack, because this will give me more power through cards. So here, I have a couple of things. So Dueling Buckler, that is definitely a pickup, because I'm going to get my black soon. We have a treasure. We have a class trainer, who will give me the ability to switch out a non-class card for a class card with a void stone for free, technically. It would technically be for free if I didn't just spend all my essence on a spell, but that's fine, because we still have to go down here anyways. And we have a upgrade here that would be lost if I were to go this way, and I'd rather come here and get this treasure, and then fight this elite and take its treasure, and maybe get the chance to go here. I'd rather do that, because that will be better for me in the long run. Then I can just path and go to the boss. So we're going to go down. Look here, the only things I'd be able to do that is Blessed Recovery, can't do it. We leave. Go down again. We're hugging the wall the same way that we did in the beginning. In this situation, it's fine to start with this and do this number, because we already have enough of what we're looking for here. We're going to want to start getting bleed on him as soon as possible. And we want to get bleed on him because we want to stack our shit quickly. We're going to apply this vulnerable. Going to increase his bleed. And we're going to keep holding these two cards. In this situation, I don't have enough energy, nor do I want to use something extra right now. So we're going to hold, because it's not conducive to us surviving. Because I already have bleed on him, this will block for 6. This blocks for this turn. Hitting him is not going to do anything. So I'd rather expel that. Because of the fact that he gets this every time I purge a card, he's going to gain damage when he does that. It's going to make it a little bit more annoying. In this situation, we are going to look for ability to do this number. Here, I can gain block equal to the number of cards in my discard, which right now is 12. So that'll block for me for the turn. It's going to swap my cards around. So the cards that I just put in there and all the cards that are out of there means this will give me an opportunity and chance to look for something extra. I see agility. I have to get rid of 2 cards to do this. So instead of getting rid of that, I'm going to get rid of this. And this. Throw this out for damage. Hold on to First Blood. And because of the way that First Blood works, I'm going to look to hold this until I have the need to block. Or I'll draw blood. The man in the face. Hold these cards because they block. Now we see something extra. Get rid of this First Blood. Attack the man. Lock it. Block it. And now we can just execute him. Effectively. Technically. And he's dead. So, now we are at the stage of getting upgrades that we need to place in things. Get rid of the evade. Insert dueling buckler. If I see another dark mine, I'm gonna look to try and put my black void inside of it before I upgrade it and duplicate it, so that way I can get 2 free dueling bucklers without much effort. For this red void, I'm going to insert that into my weapon, if I can find it. Where is it? Here it is. Talked about. Stone in the shield dash. Go to the treasure. Leading edge. From shadows. Scatter shot. I'd much rather have scatter shot here rather than leading edge. Mainly because having bleed across an entire party of enemies is very powerful compared to having the ability to do hidden blades, but this is a heavy attack, and I'm going to need to have a heavy in the future. So in this situation, I'm looking at my cards, and I definitely want to upgrade my Bloodlust, since it blocks. Going to look at my Leading Edge. Leading Edge is a very powerful opener, and it's a card that I'm going to want to play first always. So in this situation, I'm actually going to attach a block card to this. Taking this out, I'm going to put in... I should keep 2 of them, honestly. So I'm going to put this in. Put that there. Underhanded Tactics is a Swift. And because this is a Swift, I'm going to stick this other Void Stone in there. Since I'm not getting the Swift card that I'm looking for, I can't get picky. In this situation, because this is not the opposite side of the wall, I have to pick into this the way that I want to. So I have to just deal with the fact that I'm going to have an attack-heavy block in the form of defensive attack, which is fine. Manage the things in the deck, dealing against the Stealth Mage. I don't think I need to invert my spell. Nah, I'm not going to invert. But now we're looking for this. After every second fight. In a potion, not very valuable. Card spikes, it can be valuable because it will be draw in the future. And because of the fact that I already have a draw card, every card that I draw through something like Juggle is going to apply that bleed, which is fine. At the start of turn 4. Apply 2 vulnerable, 2 weak, and 2 slow to all enemies. This is not as appetizing because it's not immediate power. This is not very appetizing because this is not immediate power. It's sustained power, which is good to take in the beginning. It's fine, but it's not what I want. Card spikes is very valuable. And if at any point in time you just hated all your cards, you just take the essence and the souls instead. That's always fine. In this situation, because it's the opening turn, I actually want to take something extra here first. And I'm going to get rid of For the Throat. And I think I'll also... Oh, actually, no, I'm just going to hold. What I'm going to do is hold. Get rid of the Dueling Buckler, because these 2 will block for me this turn. Reverse things first from Shadow. Because they're both openers, this is where upgrading one of those cards is going to be very important. That way you don't have to worry about the situation. And then we play Leading Edge. We remove Draw Blood. Play Evade. Purge that. Now we have a turn where we're dealing with even more damage. Leading Edge. And then we're going to purge 1,000 Cuts. Vulnerable. And then we just lance the man in the face. agility here. Yeah, I'm looking at agility here. I am currently confused. So that's kind of sucky. This is why we upgrade this. This is actually block for 10. I want to raise the bleed, so block perfectly here. And we're just going to hold. I want to hold for next turn because it'll have a higher block value, which means I'll get more out of it. So now we block here. It's going to clot 2 of his points. That'll give me overcharge, so that I get 3 energy a turn. I'm going to use this evade. I'm going to purge this draw blood. I'm going to hold on to this underhanded tactics for now. I'm going to purge this fourth throat. I'm going to play Shadow. Juggle. 2 cards to discard. I'm going to discard the Hidden Blade because it's not going to do anything. And I'm going to discard the Draw Blood. I'm going to end the turn there. It's a very funny situation, but it's very dumb too. So we're going to open her to block 10. We're going to use our agility to increase. Because he doesn't have any bleed, this is going to suck anyways. So we're going to look to try and get overcharge. So we're going to juggle. We ended up not pulling anything that will give bleed, which sucks. Now we're going to discard underhanded. And we're going to discard evade. We can always be able to block with Bloodlust, even though it only gives 1 point, which is what we have to do. We're going to throw this out. This will give us enough bleed on that, just to get enough for the overcharge. That'll block perfectly. We hold in hand for the next turn. So now we play the Shield Bash. Then we play the First Blood. Then we throw out the Duel. And we all throw out the First Blood again. Because we don't have very big heavy bleed cards, this is going to take a little bit of a time to do. Which is, you just have to deal with it. Do this number. This is where the situation where you ask yourself, do I really care about the few points of damage that are coming into you? And in this situation, I kinda don't care about them. But at the same time, I kinda do. I'm gonna use invert to do this. It's gonna swap what's in the discard, which is just cards that don't matter. Since this costs me energy, I'm not gonna play those. Instead, I'm gonna look at what I have here. Likely it's gonna be that I pull one of my defense cards that matter. So I'm gonna do the draw blood. I'm just gonna pass. These will resolve out of my hand. Pull a whole new deck. Leading Edge. Man's dead. Don't take any points of damage. Now we're at the situation where we have our first one goes directly either into Dueling Buckler or into Agility. Because I have very strong block cards and I don't have to rely on the Dueling Buckler combo, I can actually put this straight into Agility. And if I get the ability to duplicate my cards over Dueling Buckler, I will probably pick the Agility first. This will increase the uptime and the ability for me to get things done. Next upgrade I look for is going to be taking one of my From Shadows, which I'm going to get rid of one now, to expel what I need. And because I have Blessed Recovery, I might as well be looking for an opportunity to take it and use it. So because that's gone, I'm going to go into defensive attack. Then I'm going to look at my evades. They're pretty even right now. I need more bleed than I do blocking cards, so I'm going to look there for that. And then I'm going to go here to my Blessed Recovery and just take it. because it's free healing. The fact that I didn't put it in my deck earlier is because of the fact that I didn't want to. Still have For the Throat. Still have all these. Because I have For the Throat with this, along with Underhanded Tactics, I have to look for a purple to stick in that, which luckily I have one coming up soon. Here's where I have to walk it. This is what I was talking about before, where not being in this position kind of fucks you. I have to pick what I want and what matters more here. In this situation, I have to take the Void, but I have a way to deal with it. So what I'll do here is I have to walk to the center anyways. So I choose what I care about more. Do I care about the ability to gain damage upon reaction, or do I care about the power of thinning out and taking these free? Technically, either way that I go, I'll be able to do that anyways. So I'm going to look to go here for response because it's a strong card and it's still available to me. Don't think I need to change spell here. I should be fine. So we're going to start looking to actually first move Exhaust out of hand. Because it's a character and it's an enemy that likes to protect itself when you have too many cards. You have to be very careful with how you spend them. I have to give up First Blood. That sucks. I also have to go over here. Get the extra block here. Loss for energy. That extra daze is very, very annoying. Same situation again. I have to drop one of them so I can play this. Oh, it's throwing in poison to the mix. This is a very annoying effect to have to deal with. Suffering damage based on the poison value with this stacking constantly is obnoxious. So he has no bleed on him, so we need to put some bleed on him. Yeah, this is fine. Next turn, dueling. No, I'd be fine. 3 turns of overcharge. You have to make it good. Get that out of hand. Still haven't pulled juggle. There's my juggle. Looking to do this. Pick one of the cards to get rid of. of it like that. Now we have a response. This gives us an opportunity to get rid of another damage card. Mainly because it's going to produce a card that will do damage. I can now go to the Soul Collector, and now I can take a path along the wall. For each potion used at the start of combat, apply 8 bleed. That's really nice, but I don't like spending potions, nor should you look to spend them as wildly as that. Use Tool at the start of each fight. 1 celerity will be added to the deck. I actually do not remember what celerity is. If I had enough, I would definitely take Butcher's Blade. Since we can't, I'd rather be happy with taking a random uncommon. And we ended up pulling Silver Metal. After each time you complete a non-perfect combat, take the item up by 1, increase the rate of the bar fills for this for each count on the item. This is very, very interesting because this now gives me the ability to synergize with Living Blood should I choose to. Which is in those situations where taking 1 damage is really nice. And now we have another block and draw card, which is Maneuver. Starting at the beginning of the turn, we're looking to play our bleeds. Because fuck them, that's why. Hold the block. I'm gonna get this just so I can be able to hold it in place. I don't need defensive attack yet, but I'm gonna have the energy on hand in case I want to use it. What card do I want to discard? I want to discard Heal. Use the buff. Draw out the bleed. Use evade. Leading edge. Definitely going to have to evade something. I will actually pass that, so I can use this. The fear is going to be very annoying because it's going to force me to have to get rid of something. If it makes me get rid of anything, I have to be careful. It's not something that I want to keep. In this situation, next turn is going to have a lot more opportunities to block. So I'm going to actually hold Shield Bash. I'm going to play Bloodlust, swing, and I'm going to hold on to this. Okay, so we can play something extra. Get rid of First Blood, double agility, Shield Bash the face, juggle. We cannot juggle, so we're going to have to take 7 here. That's unfortunate, unless I invert. 3 is better than nothing. Switch the cards around. That gets rid of all those Banes that I'd have to pull. Take the 4. We're not in any real danger. It's not going to matter much. Use this to get rid of the Bane. Double agility again. Use this, get rid of the Hidden Blade. That. We'd have to take 6 here if we don't block. Do that for energy. Same scenario again. This slightly more annoying. Leading Edge. And then Bloodlust. But after we use all of these. Consume those for energy. He dies in this turn. Groovy. Now we're looking for another upgrade. We're definitely going to upgrade defensive attack. And after upgrading defensive attack, what stone would I like to see in that card? Redstone, kind of, maybe. Arguably, since the damage will go out after the effect, because this will always add it after the card's been played. It won't affect the damage the card is doing beforehand. You kind of just get fucked, I think. I can always test that later, but in this situation, since it's going to be something that has such high energy, I'm definitely going to want to pull one, draw one. Now we get the other upgrade here on the wall, and that's definitely going to be for my other defensive card. Look at our spell count. Blood Rust is still there, but we much would rather have the block spell than the draw spell, since we don't need the draw spell. We have an opportunity to pull this here, and to use this here. Take recovery out of the deck. Get our combo up. End up triggering our Torch of Triumph. Have to discard something. I'm gonna discard Response because we don't need it. No one has any bleed, so it's not gonna matter. Going to inflict all this weak on him. And then we're going to bleed on the red cap. Bold Bloodlust and Struggle for when we need it. Now we can pull. Going to get rid of Fourth Throat. And we're going to get rid of from Shadow. We're going to use defensive to outright kill. Which now forces us to discard. Going to sack that to use Bloodlust here. Get the extra energy. We're already relaying 10 for the next turn, but we don't take any incoming. In this situation, we're gonna get rid of draw. Going to leading edge to get rid of the damage that's attacking us. So now we can use this for energy to use damage. Do what we do. And at this point, we're just farming this mana for damage points. Same situation here. Get rid of that in hand. End combat. Upgrade point. Bottom of the screen. From the shadow. Increase it. Make sure that's from the shadow that's still in the deck. It is. Go down here. Now, on this is a block card, so we're going to want to take evade. Get that. If we upgrade it, it'll go to 7 from 4. This draw 1 is a candidate immediately to be used with overcharge, because drawing and energy go together. Still waiting on that purple to stick that into my one for the throat. Really, I can do it in anything, but if I'm going to use something that's going to be used constantly, I'm going to want to trigger this effect multiple times. That's the reason why it goes into Swift. And I only have so many Swift cards that are damage. This already has overcharge on it. I don't need to give it additional overcharge. In this situation, I'd probably want it to have draw. Of course, I can always try it, so there's always that. And there's that dagger whirl. I can go straight to the boss if I want to, but I don't want to, because I want to get my stone. Go through here. Looking at more pups. We have the ability to use a buff on the start if we want, which is good because these guys like to attack a lot. Use our agility. Drop this, and we're gonna hold. Looking hot here. We want to kill this one because he's gonna keep giving us Banes. And we're going to want to block like that. Now it gives us all this. So we can go straight to the head. Do extra damage. Consume. Hold. And we wait. Now we do the same thing again. And because there's no bleed on this target, I'm going to throw a bleed out on him. Looking good, looking good. We're going to want to do this number. We're going to rebound. We're going to play this juggle to draw. We see our recovery, we don't need it. And we see dueling, we don't need it. And we're going to throw this out at him. Mainly for the play value. First blood. Juggle again. Draw blood in the blade. They take damage on that. We're gonna hold. We're gonna pull the cards that are about to come into our hand, and we're gonna see what we do next. And that's gonna dictate what a card we play. Which it's probably going to be this, so we just get rid of this, immediately use defensive attack in the combat, and perfect. Now we have our item. Put this into the for the throat, or put it into another card that I think is a candidate. The card that I think is a candidate for this, honestly, I'm feeling like it could be Juggle. Really, it's going to be any card that I think I'm going to be using often as a candidate for From Shadow. Right now, I'm looking at Swift because I'm not playing my For the Throat enough to justify its existence. And I don't have another card in question that I think would matter for its existence either. Ooh, that even adds a Silent Shiv. That's nice. So we have Vulnerable. Kind of want to take this. This looks fine. Where does it go? Where does it go? Where do I want it to go? Yeah, I'm feeling like this is going in for the throat. Get use out of that card. And now we're dealing with Swamp Mistress. This combat is very interesting because of the fact that all of these will become choices at the end. Between the two totems that I've actually picked up in a run, it has been Spirit and Shield Ward. I prefer Spirit because it's direct block, whereas Shield Ward is delayed block. And having block immediately available is not the same as having block in the next turn. Ended up getting Blessed Recovery at the start. We're going to start bleeding her. We're going to hold on to this Dagger Whirl because we don't need it yet. Going to do this. And then we're going to do this. Then we're going to do this. And then we're going to play this. It's important that I bleed her out because if I kill her, her minions aren't going to matter. But you do have to eventually work on killing them because they will get in the way and they will be annoying while they're doing it. Get out the way of her blocking my ability to use my stones. Use my dueling buckler. And I think I'm holding turn. Yeah, I'm holding turn. Yes. Vulnerable here. Do it again. Hold. Definitely gonna look for the attack here. I'd definitely rather just attack her directly. Get rid of this. Something extra. Only person I can bloodlust is her. Be happy with it. Take the energy. Already delaying 10. Boom. That'll block. Only have to block for 8 now. Don't have anything in hand to do that with. Take the 4 here. And response, get rid of something extra. Ended up killing them. Choose this to discard. Choose this to discard. Play the effective. Swing for her face. And the more and more and more that you work through it, and the more you think about it and you work through your hands, the more understanding you're going to have with what your cards do, how you want them to play, and everything else that goes along with that. It's not very hard to understand. It can be a little bit daunting at first, but with anything that you will ever do that will require thinking, it's always going to make sense as you're doing it. As long as you think of it from that turn, you get to the point that doesn't matter. So now, we have the choice of whichever one we want to take. We're a build that already has damage inside of it. Killing the enemy is not the problem. It's how quickly we kill the enemy and how much defense we have while we're doing it. Since I already have a card, or I already have a spell that's blocking for me, but it's based on my draw and it's switching my deck around, I would rather have the ability to just block directly with Spirit Ward than delaying block in hand, because that's not going to help. There's no guarantee that I'll be able to block while I'm blocking, so that's fine. Now we get to the Well of Stars, which happens at the end of both of the first 2 floors. You get a choice, usually, of pulling a booster pack, a choice of something that has to deal with Void Stones, and some kind of choice that will deal with your maximum health. You'll get very random things here, but realistically, this is the place and time where you're going to be holding all this essence for. Namely because you really want to use it on things like this, because you can only take one of these, but you can take as many of these as you have essence for. So in this situation, if I had had 1,000, I would have taken this for Promise of the Crab, and that's good, because playing anything that gives you attack and block for free is fine. In this case, 12th card you play giving block will give you the ability to recur 3 enemy attack cards. That can always be fun. Getting potions can also be useful depending on whether or not you think you want to rush something down. This is a choice as well. But realistically, this will be the choice that I pick here because I still want to have energy to play. Out of these, it really depends on what you're doing. I already know what kind of stones I want to pull. So rather than pulling 2 random Void Stones or taking extra health, which I don't need because I have a way of restoring my health now, not only over time, but every single combat, I'd rather have Potion, and I'd rather have Promise of Gain. That's going to pull me a new booster pack. And in that booster pack, I have a rare, which is Puncture. But looking at all of this, the thing that I actually care about out of all of this, Scatter Shot, enough. We go here. And now, we're looking at our cards and we're looking at what we want to pull in our hand directly. And now we can control what we pull here. This is the power of having green Void Stone. There are some buffs that will come rigged, but the ones that don't come rigged, that you know you want to have active, you want to do this. And with Swift cards, you always want something extra. The bleed is not something you can argue. You just have to have it. And it's going to suck when you don't. But at this point of the stage, now that we have this ability to get block, and we have this ability to get bleed, we're going to be looking less at attacking enemies with a single card that will bleed them, and instead directly applying what we want. So in this situation, we're dropping First Blood, so we can pick up Scattershot, which we will also socket with a yellow, but we're also going to be picking up enough. So now give us bleed and overcharge. Puncture is interesting because of the fact that this is a card that says this turn, when enemies take damage, you're going to apply a bleed to them when you attack them, and that you also give yourself Hidden Blade. This is useful in the fact that once you have the ability to trigger your cards multiple times, with something like Response comboed with something extra, comboed with the card that I can't think of right now that adds the +1/+2 trigger, this is the card combo that will allow you to stack up bleed really fast through your Hidden Blades and through your Silent Shivs, because of the fact that they're balanced. That combined with your Scatter Shot, and that combined with everything else, is going to make things like Bleeding Edge even stronger than they already are, and is going to make you something to be threatened with when you face enemies in the combat, as you're transitioning from the early game to the mid game. This is the point where you're going to want to look for ways to get bleed onto the enemy. If I had Bladestorm on the first floor before we found a Scattershot for free, I would have had Bladestorm. Realistically, Scattershot is just a +1 cost that adds 4 damage direct on top of the bleed, and it also gives me more damage and more bleed when I attack them, which will always be great, comboed with Red Void. I'm looking for a situation where I'll have the excuse to add in Puncture, but there just is not a situation right now where I need to worry about it. The problem I have right now is not stacking bleed, it's getting out more of my abilities at one time. Now, I'm looking to get upgrades as much as I can, and also get enough essence so that when I come here to Lost and Found, I can just directly buy what's there. This will have all the collection of cards and artifacts that I've been passing along the way. And along the way, I see Surprise Attack, I see Opportunist, which is a very strong Swift card. This will allow me to blow up an enemy stack very fast. I can see Slick Strike, which adds another block card on top of everything else I have. This becomes a candidate for Overcharge because of the fact it already has block on it. You can also put another block on it, so you turn that 4 block to 8 block. You start blocking some very big incoming hits. And then you have Sidestep. This is an energy generator once it's upgraded. Then along the way, I see Dark Idol, which will give me artifacts for devotion. And right next to that Dark Idol, I see a Shrine, which will have the ability to pray off what I don't have. The fact that this is here as well means I should be able to take this Shrine, walk to the bottom, and still take this Lab Master. I don't think there's any potions in here that I'll need, but we'll see. But if it costs too much, I'm not going to take any potions. And then I'm just going to go from there, go straight into there. Probably look at the Soul Collector and see what he has here, because this will cost souls. This won't cost me souls. And we'll just cheat our way through the bottom, honestly. Surprise Attack can also sometimes be useful, but I already have ways of attacking things that will kill them easier. So, not a big issue. Always remember, with your spells. So, first room of the second floor. You're going to start looking at combat a bit differently now. This is where the game starts throwing other complex issues on top of you. You're going to start seeing more bleed. You're going to start seeing a lot more damage overhead come in. You're going to see a lot more effects that fuck with you. And the first of these is Scapegoat and Taunt. Because of things like this, you're going to want to take it, because otherwise you would not be able to attack these cultists. This is why Opportunist and other cards like this that attack all in their wording are very, very, very important. Because without it, you're fucked. I'm very lucky in the fact that I ended up pulling my Response and my something extra. In this situation, since I already have this in hand, I'm going to play Response first. Then I'm going to stack my Underhanded and my something extra, because the effect of my Rigged is that every single time my deck is reshuffled, it's going to go on top of my deck. Technically, I can hold it. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it. Instead, I'm going to play this First Blood. We're going to see if I pull any defense cards in the next turn. And I have to hope that I pull a 0 or 1 cost, and I do. Because now, this is the first time, and this is a very important battle, where you're going to be introduced to not just Haunted, but also Hex. If I were to use any of these cards that have high energy costs on them, it would not play the card, it would instead set it in my discard. So you will want to have 0 cost cards for situations like this. You want to have healthy cards throughout. But you really want to have 0s, 1s, a couple of 2s, maybe some 3s, and a balance of energy giving and energy taking effects for exactly this situation. Why Juggle's so good. So playing this will get rid of it. Now, I'm looking to block what's incoming. I don't need recovery because we haven't taken damage yet. I don't need to overcharge. I just need to attack him. So now, I'm going to use defensive to delay that 10. We'll only have to block for 3 next turn. Because I can't attack them until this effigy is dead. I have 13 cards left in hand. I should have more than enough to be able to block through. I still have to retain this block because I don't know what's going to happen. I will slip this because I'll just take 1. Take the extra energy and take the hit. This will give me a stack into silver metal. This will increase the speed at which the stone bar is going to ramp because this is where I can afford to do so. With this is enough. I'm probably going to have to play the maneuver before I do it. Which is fine. Get rid of the hidden blade since I have the ability to dispose of it. And I will get rid of the shield bash because I don't need it. And then we're going to vulnerable. And then we're going to block and draw. And then we're going to draw again. Do this and do that. Mainly because we have the ability to pull here. In this situation, I'm going to get rid of this. And I'm going to get rid of this. Only because next turn I'll be able to use this as an opener. Get that damage. Please draw blood. And have to do this to get the overcharge off. Because this already will have my opener. And I want my opener to give me this block technically, but I don't. Spirit Lords 4. Just have to grit and bear it. Play this. Now we can play our agility. Now let's give it more. Go for the face. Fill the card. Go for here. Burn this here. Throw away the card for energy. He bleeds to death. This man's entire life is about to expire. Or I will make it expire. Can only get 1 energy. Hold this here. All I have to do is just wait for my cards to proc and it'll be fine. We ended up pulling what we needed, and defensive attack for the win. Next upgrade point. Looking at what we have, we're looking to upgrade our damage now, and we're looking to upgrade our effects now. We are in a pretty safe situation where we don't have to really worry that much about things, but we do have to start now concerning ourselves with being able to block for the maximum value. So between our buffs and between our block, I'm actually going to look at Enough. And Enough is a candidate that's going to get Loose Stone because of what it can do for me. Now we go here for Opportunist. Take a look at the deck really fast. I have to ask myself if I want to have Surprise Attack. I don't think I really care. Not in the long run. I have to also ask myself, do I need Draw Blood in my hands? And I don't, because Surprise Attack, even though it's not going to be applying bleed, will give me the ability to burst something faster. Just as a catch-up card until I have Opportunist in deck. We have a good cooldown on our cards. We're kind of not too worried about what we're doing here. And we also want to keep that plus heal, because it will be very huge, especially for recovering what we lose. Opening turn. We have an enemy that's going to ramp up very, 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 very slowly, naturally, until we're able to get things done. We want to be very, very careful when we use our 0 cost, because he will become very dangerous because of it. We have to burst him down before we can kill the other two, because they're going to increase his attack power before we're able to attack anything else. So the first thing we want to do here is then recognize that and immediately use our Swift. Then we have to look at this. This is where looking at the value of battle progress is going to be very important. What I want to do is I want to kill them in such a way that the Rune Priest will stop doing what he does, and the Poon Pillar wants to stop doing what he does, but I also have to put some damage down on the Berserker to be safe. So I am going to throw out Surprise Attack in trade for starting the bleed with First Blood. Hold on to From Shadow. The next effect next turn is going to be 20 threat, so we want to hold on to either From Shadow or Shield Bash. This turn, we're going to be mostly safe because of Dagger Whirl. So we're going to look to use Dueling to gain energy. Response. Use 1 energy here from Shadow to block perfectly with Dagger Whirl. And we're gonna wait. See what they do next. Next turn is 10 threat. We're going to Agility. Then we're going to Shield Bash into the center. We're going to Juggle. And we're going to Hidden Blade. I kind of don't care, but I kind of do care about the fact that I'm going to take 5. I have to really just make a judgment call about it. It doesn't really matter if I take it or not. So now, we are looking at our survivability. We just outright kill him with defensive. Looking for a card to discard. We're looking to discard Underhanded because we don't need it. Going to use some Throat to immediately take care of his bleed. Once we give up something for energy, I will give up Scatter Shot. Very stupid situation. Go for the opener. And use nothing, I suppose, on anything. Get some block in. Play the vulnerable. Use maneuver. Plus recoveries in my hand. And in combat, nice and healthy. Got another point. We're looking to do Silent Shiv here. I can honestly do Response because that'll give us the ability to have more things in hand to throw, which is also fine. I'm looking at Silent Shiv because Silent Shiv will give us a card to bleed with. And I care about that more than anything else right now. We have our next ghost. We are looking for the card that we want to put it in. We only have one other zero-cost card that we're thinking about having it in, and that is our Dueling Buckler. We're going to stick it in there. We're looking at our Opportunist. Because we now have Opportunist, we can actually stop looking at Surprise Attack. We technically can take out Blessed, since we have our block able to give us a heal for 1. We can keep it there in case we actually feel like we need it, but right now I don't think I do. Pick surprise attack up. So actually, this is a situation where instead of surprise attack, we can now justify the use of puncture. To be fair. And then when we look for this puncture, we're going to be looking for overcharge, I think. Inside of this, we're going to be looking for draw. And now we're just looking for straight upgrades. Higher is very annoying. This is a very annoying fight in general. Most of these fights on floor 2 are very annoying in general. Most of the bosses are much easier than most of the normal hallway fights. But this is very annoying because these burnings, you have to deal with the pyramites before you can really deal with the pyre if you don't have the rush down to kill them. And it's very dumb the way that they choose to handle it. So this is one where you definitely want something extra first. First turn, you're going to want to scatter shot them, because these two are very weak. And most of their damage is going to be coming in from the burnings they're going to be applying to you. Now, you're going to be looking to try and kill this pyre, while at the same time you're killing this two on the side. Like so. Because the real damage here really is not them hitting you for one with so many times on the regular off chance. It is this very annoying DPS that they're going to be doing occasionally. So here, I'm swinging for his head. Going to ask me to discard something. I am going to discard response, because I don't need it. I am going to block with Spirit Ward. And I'm gonna just kill this man. Name of this one. These two will bleed out eventually, so I don't have to really worry about them. Now I can focus my damage into the next person who's here. There's no way for me to get bleed onto him, so that sucks. Use this to bleed him out. Allow him to attack. Sacrifice this. Destroy the pyre so it can't use its exploding attack. And that is effectively how easy you can make it for yourself if you plan ahead. Really, this vulnerable is doing a lot of work because it allows me to get some more damage out faster. Then we can just hold up this, throw out that, and the man dies to death. Now we have Slick Schleich. We have our next ability to upgrade. This time it's definitely going to be response. And we're going to look at our Slick Schleich, which gives us more block. We're going to look for a card to replace it with. Realistically, keeping underhanded tactics is fine. But I'm going to want to get rid of a card that's supposed to deal direct, that's not doing direct. The only card that I can think of that would I be able to justify removing technically would be Maneuver. Because this draw 1 is not going to be better than the draw 1 I already have. Or the draw 2 that I already have with this. Drop Maneuver, pick up Slick Strike. I can actually hug this wall here and take that and still have the ability to go in this room, which is really good. We are looking at our deck right now and we only have one Void. So I'm going to pray for Greed. Look at the potions. I see Rage, not really that good. I see Draw a Potion, not completely good. It's good in situations, but I don't need it. I'd rather hold on to this. It's a Potion of Stealth, I don't really need it. And I see Health Potion, don't really need it. We pass them up. Looking in here, see our sidestep. I see Chosen Champion, Lost Spirit, Dark Courtesan on the Holy King. We're not really in any serious danger. If I had a spell that would give me damage across the line, I would use it, but I don't. But it's okay, I have Opportunist. Very dangerous enemy, the King. These Banes are very, very annoying. And you do not want to be in a situation where you're going to get fucked because of them. In this scenario, we want to sack this, and we want to sack this. I'd rather hold on to Puncture. Have to get rid of something here. I would rather get rid of... depends. I can take the damage to the head. It's not going to be a lot. I'll get rid of Shield Bash. Use First Blood on the King. Then use Blade Whirl. Use that on the King as well. Pass the turn. You can't be very aggressive in this turn because it's not going to produce anything here. Now we're looking here. We're going to Vulnerable first. Then we're going to block 20. We're going to hold. Taking 5 doesn't really hurt. He just made me discard my agility. Very annoying. Use this to block. Use this to block. And we're going to do this. And we're going to do this. The King's going to bleed out next turn, which is fine. There goes my Opportunist, which doesn't let me kill them all equally, which sucks. But that's whatever. Attack here. And just go ahead and execute. Use this, summon this. Get rid of the card, get rid of the card. I just kill. Now we have the ability to take our next upgrade point. Honestly, at this point, it would be Dueling Buckler just to increase this to 5, so I will get more when I have energy. I'm feeling I can also upgrade with Leading Edge, so this has more damage. I can also upgrade Vulnerability, so it'll have more effectiveness. But what I'm going to use it on is going to be my Sidestep, because I want that energy now. Switch this out, switch out the card. Looking at the block cards that I have, this stays, this definitely stays, this definitely stays. Do I want to stick this on one of the attack cards first, is what I'm thinking. I'm looking at my Swifts. I'm definitely thinking about which one I want to put it inside of. I feel like I want to put it inside of Opportunist. It's either Slick Slike or Opportunist, because it doesn't feel good inside of Bloodlust. I'm going to put in Slick Strike. I still want to put a block inside of that one. Now we're looking at the cards. And thinking about what I want to do. Thinking about it, and thinking about it, and thinking about it. Puncture didn't really do anything this combat, so I'm going to take it out, and I'm going to see how things feel with that extra energy. Pick up the sidestep. Now we are in the place where we want to be. We're looking at our artifacts, and we see that we have emergency button. At the start of turn 4, apply the vulnerable, weak, and slow to all enemies, which kind of doesn't matter. We also have Keg of Lucky Rum. Every second fight, we find a potion. Looking at the map, we still have not a lot of rooms left, so emergency button will have to be it. Then looking at cards, don't really have a lot of choices, not ones that are appetizing at least. Scattershot is the only one that I care about. It doesn't cost us anything to take it, since we already paid for an item there. Here's a Soul Collector we talked about. Execution Order. When an enemy is brought to 50% HP, apply 3 weak and 3 vulnerable. Pre-fight meal at the start of each combat. Get 100 rage. If you're at over 50 HP, you get an energy. Looking glass. Viewing the deck during the battle will show the correct ordering of the cards, which just means you know which order they're going to come out in, which is effective. Really, really powerful. But really, what I'm looking at here is Execution Order. The reason I'm looking at Execution Order is that this card, this item now justifies the ability for me to take out natural 20. Because now I'm just hit a motherfucker and I get it for free. Doesn't matter that I'm killing them, I just need to kill them faster. And with that card, we can now pick up Puncture again. Because now, not only do I have that card coming in, doing its thing, but the card is now going to produce power and effect, as well as regenerative combo. I kill people with bleed, they're going to bleed slowly, then they're going to die, and as they are dying, they're going to die even slower or faster. So now, we're in a situation where we can now offer, and the only offering that we now have available to us, because we did not save souls for the 0 cost. It's a cost, but you don't use souls a lot here. Now that we've used souls for this, we only have Gain Void or Donate. Donation, we actually don't want to use. Technically, when you get to the vault, you use your souls to do damage to the vault to lower its health faster. So you would save on a higher level. But here, we can afford to do this because I'd rather Gain Void here. Because I'll still have the ability to ignore the void that I have. We have to fucking give this up. It sucks, but we have to. Blades upon Blades is not that great. Crippling Blow is interesting, but I will not pay 3 energy for this kind of damage when I can already get that kind of damage out of production effects. It can be nice if you have the ability to get the artifact that gives you a free attack every 3 heavies to get the 0 cost, because then that's just free damage in every rotation. But I have to take the shrine here, because now I have 4 voids. Assuming that I pull and use juggle constantly, I'll have the ability of discarding 2 of them. So I have to drop some of them. I have to. And now I'm in this situation where I can move forward slowly. We're doing the same thing we just did again. Really, I'm safe scumming for health from Spirit Ward if I want. We're looking for this. Let's Swift right away. Use both of these. Puncture. Deal damage. Get the bleed out. Each time I play a block card, delay 4. I don't even remember when I picked up this hand mirror, but apparently I have it. That's cool. Looking for 2 to discard. Immediately get rid of them. Thanks for saving me power. I'm gonna want to use this here on him because of that. And I'm gonna want to pass here to use underhanded. Use these on the side to bleed them out. Getting a card to discard. We technically want to discard Shield Bash. Get energy with this. And bleed here. Wait a turn. That damage is not going to matter. And we discard Juggle. Attack here with defensive. Discard Slick. Sack this. Use the bleed. He's gonna bleed to death in this turn. Discard the Bane. Pull the Shiv. Juggle. Throw out this. Throw out this. Use this. And we're just gonna swing. Just enough damage for them to die. Boom. Go here, do the same thing we did on the last floor. Just start scumming the sides. Gotta look for opportunities where I want to make use of my Spirit Ward, because I haven't been using it. And that's bad of me. I'm going to... What do I want to do? Swifting first with this. Bleed on here. Then I'll hold these. This is a fight that you have to be very careful about how you do this. So, the reason why this threat reads so high is because these are gaining power in their frenzy equal to the cards I have in my hand. So, I have to get rid of cards in order to make myself safe next turn, which is what I'm going to do. Because I don't have cards for energy, I have to blow this, and then I have to blow this. I should have done this the other way around. Oh well. So now I'm going to play that. And I have to find a way to block some of this damage. Boom, boom. And fortunately, there's my answer. Have enough in the hand. And we're swinging for this man's life. Technically. Yeah, we're swinging for this man's life. Now I have to find a way to block for that 32. Very nice. We're going to play the puncture. Do we want? Well, no, I don't. I don't want to play the puncture. I'm going to exhaust it. Then I'm going to play Leading Edge. I'll purchase Scatter Shot, and then I'll play the defensive attack over here. I will discard the Over. Play the sidestep. And play the energy on the sides to keep their bleed up. Gives me an opportunity to fuck with him. That will kill them outright. Now I can just focus my damage and delete into him. And win. Now we get the next upgrade. I'm looking at what I want to increase for block or for damage. This is where I feel like dueling bucket is going to matter. But actually I just want to take opportunist. Also looking at leading edge. Also looking at juggle. I feel like it's going to be juggle. Because the damage on my cards is not what's going to matter. It's the bleed that they're applying. Speaking of, now that we are here, we're going to take the scatter shot, put that into here. Now I can play my scatter shot freely like it's a block card. Look around on my cards. Is there anything that I see that I'm worried about? My health value doesn't really matter. I still have 1 health potion. I still have 2 energy potions and they're crippling. I'm saving those for the boss enemies. Not in any real danger. Sanguicito, Blood Hive. This is very easy to deal with. Play this very slow. Play this very safe. Anything extra. Save these cards. Look for my energy. Look for the opportunity in which we're going to block as much as we can with Uncoming. Because this is going to ramp very, very fast. So, these minions are going to disappear at the end. But I still have to worry about them. Because they're going to add shit that's going to annoy me. So, for starters, since this one has Taunt, I have to attack him. And unfortunately, because of Enrage the Colony, every attack card that's played on the Bloodheim will increase all of their AP. And unfortunately, these enemies have a very low value of resurrection. So if I want to be lucky, I have to make a balance between attacking them equally, which is the reason why Opportunist is good. So, play the card to get rid of the block. We are going to Opportunist. Put in next turn. Now we are going to Shield Bash. Get rid of Puncture. For its throat. And we're going to hold. He's going to die. Summon up another one. Not really in danger. I will actually get rid of this Void. Because I'm not in any real serious issue to deal with anything that's going to threaten me. I'm going to hold Dueling Buckler. I'm also going to sack Juggle. Not any real danger. Hold the energy. Still no real danger. Play this. Sack this. Still playing somewhat slow. Now we're going to Leading Edge. And we're going to From Shadow. I'm going to sack the 2 of these, get the energy to play defensive attack, and attack the Hive. Now I can choose to discard. Discard 1 Hidden Blade, I still have 1 left. Use that to start stacking bleed on the other side again. I have to start playing Response because I'm missing out on a lot of blades because I don't have it. Get our agility up. Going to consume his bleed. Yes, his bleed. Get the overcharge. I'm going to hold these cards. Hit the block there. Take the block 15. Use the agility. Then reuse response. Juggle. Looking for cards that will do block. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. I'm looking at overcharge values. I want this. Attack him so he can't attack me. And then just take the fucking 6. Now we're leading, and they're bleeding. Prepare ourselves for that damage there. Don't want to waste that. Just use one blade on him. Gonna lead for the damage there. Defensive. Wants me to discard 1. I choose to discard enough. No. Card underhand. And we're gonna swing. Gonna hold hand. Next turn value, look at what we have incoming. I see an opportunity where I want everyone to be bleeding. Do that so we can use opportune. Nice. Beautiful. Now you attack the man to his face. Block that. Do this. Do that. If I want to be cheeky, I can sack this. Get lower damage in there. And he actually bleeds to death here. Fun. Now I have Swarm. I forget what that spell does. We have ourselves another Promise of Gain. And we have an interesting choice here for our donations. At this point of the run, after floor 2, this is where all essence needs to be spent as much as possible, because it doesn't do anything else except add for points. So you have to think, how strong can you go into these bosses? And the strongest thing that you can choose to do here, if you didn't already have a good deck, is Promise of Power. If you have the good deck, always take Promise. The upgrade points will round everything out. If you still are looking for something that you need, Promise of Gain would be good. And if you don't give a shit about your upgrade points, you're already set with all your upgrades and you don't need more cards, Promise of Life is always good, because extra life means extra hits. We already have energy points. I don't need extra energy potions, so I definitely want to take a free Void Stone if I can. Looking at our card upgrades, this is where our points and everything that we're doing should already be set. We should need to do nothing else than look for what has to be upgraded that is an immediate insurance policy. In this situation, the only upgrades that would matter is Scattershot, Leading Edge, Dueling Buckler, and Puncture. So now, with Puncture taken care of, I'm gonna put a Ghost in it. I'm gonna see how it feels with that. With that Ghost in that, the next thing and the only thing that would be left here would be Slick Strike, which I'm gonna do. Increase that block value. Release your souls. Look at the cards that still need to have values put in them. We unfortunately did not pull a blue yet. We didn't pull a blue yet. We can still pull these 2 blues here and stick them into the cards, so we have to be very, 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 very choosy about how we attack things. I'm going to test something on this run, because I'm still discovering things too, anyways. I'm going to test some things in this run. I'm going to see what happens if I attack bosses and I don't take its power value. But here, with this green, I'm going to be looking at putting it into my response. This way, I don't have to care about having it in my hand, and I can just immediately get rid of it in case I actually need it for later. The fight will go on for long enough that I will have the opportunities to take care of it, but I just need to ensure that I have what I need to have. And of course, looking for my other spell. Where is it? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? I can't find it. There you are. Take this, put it in puncture. Technically, I can put it in my sidestep. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put it in my sidestep. Better idea. 0 cost. I want to be able to use it a lot. That will give me energy. It'll solve some of my energy costs. It's not going to solve all of them, but it'll solve some of them. Now, when it comes to blessings, and we're going to find out whether or not the thing that I want to ask myself is true, you're going to look for the spells that you know you definitely want to have when you're dealing with every single piece of your void combat. You have to take 2 fights you're guaranteed, no matter what, if you don't want to fight them. It says to fight the void, you need to beat 2 of the Vault Guardians. Each will grant a blessing. I feel like if I don't fight them, and I turn off their blessing, I will be able to go in with a much easier guaranteed opportunity to kill, but I don't think that's possible. I'll probably run this a bit on stream later today to find out for sure. But you look amongst your blessings, and you pretty much just look at what looks strong. You know, if I'm fighting this boss, what would I really like to have every single time I'm fighting him? Right now, what feels good is preparation. And efficiency. The way that this reads, it says during the void fight, the first 2 cards played will trigger an additional time. That does not say if it's played per turn or played in combat for the entire battle. So the first 2 cards I ever play will trigger twice. I don't know if that is true. If so, I'd like to make those my buffs. Because, man, imagine having those 2 buffs trigger multiple times. Oh, that'd be great. But then you have first card played, each turn costs 2 less. That combined with my buffs is effectively the effect of the artifact that I was talking about. Instead of having to spend 3, I'll spend 1. And then I can just trigger 1, play the cards, trigger the other next turn, play the cards. So that's always fun. Suffer 1 weak and 1 slow reduces the ability of the boss to fight me because of the fact that I took Execution Order and I took Emergency Button. This actually means that after turn 4, and once I get him half health, every single time I attack him at the beginning of my turn, while he is under half of his health, which you can get him there very fast with your bleed once you start stacking regularly, this means that he will always be weakened and he will always be slowed, which reduces the speed at which he can kill you. Because once there's a point where there's a counter that it counts down, and once it counts down far enough, he will then start actively trying to kill you with his knockout attack. So you're going to be wanting to stack, in this case, your damage as fast as possible and your bleed as high as you possibly can. Unfortunately for me, I don't have any item to trigger the enemy bleed and to stack it as it's going, so I have to draw a lot of cards. So looking throughout these, I definitely want this, and I definitely want this. This is a runner-up if I didn't feel like I could kill him fast enough. And this is definitely for if you think you're going to be oof-erty when you're fighting during him, because it will heal your max HP, which is very powerful, especially if you're using your HP to block for face. If you use your face to block, this is really nice. But I'm going to look here at the Star Council, because Star Council is really, really nice. So let's go ahead and just deal. Also, Swarm. Single target attack played triggers 1+ times. It's always going to be better to have the block, but this is also a really good spell too. Going into this, I don't need to spend any potions. I know I can kill them. They have very, very low health. So I'm going to be looking here. I want to do response. Just throw these out. Get the buff up. pull a new first hand. There's those. 31 incoming. That kind of sucks. There's nothing I can really do about it. Now, this effect here that they have on star colors, you have to play around this. Normally, when using your cards, you'll spam them on a single target to target them down. This is a situation where you want to be very careful about how you do that. So, when I attack this one, he's now going to become a person who I don't want to deal with. Because what I want to do is I want to get off this haunted effect, because I need to trigger my Void Stones. And the problem is, I have a black card that wants me to have a combo. And I'm currently being prevented from doing that. So I have to use my Dueling Buckler. And now, I can use my Agility. Which will also combo with Torch of Triumph. Now, I just attack them each with a card. Until they get to the point that they can be hurt. But the problem with this is that now that they are immune, they will not take bleed damage. The bleed will remain, but they will not take damage from it. Very annoying. So now, looking here at this, blocking with our energy because we're fucking oomphy. Now we are doing volatile. And the thing about this, too, when it comes to attacks and how they are triggered, you have to remember how many cards are being used when played. If I throw out this Hidden Blade, it's going to do an effect based on what is tagged to it. So, because the card is balanced, it will benefit from my combo, but it will not consume it. Triggering and playing are not the same. So, when I throw out this Hidden Blade, it's going to tick this down by 1 only because it's being triggered multiple times, not being played multiple times. Same thing with this. He already has a high amount of bleed on him, and he's the one that's doing the haunted more frequently, so I'm going to make sure he gets out of here quickly. So I got to be careful with how you affect your bleed, because it is a very big part of your combo. Without it, you're very, very fucked. In this situation, we have a bunch of threat coming in. We're going to want to do this here on him. And I'm going to go ahead and throw these out. Hold on to them. We can't play that one. From Shadow. And I'm going to hold on to these 3 cards. Or actually, I shouldn't have done that. I forgot. One of the effects of Planar Shift that I forgot about. Actually, it's good that I did that, because that was me. That was a very big misplay I just did. Because my cards get automatically discarded at the end of turn. So actually, when you're fighting this guy and you know that you don't want to attack anymore, you should actually just be exhausting your cards. Do as I say, not as I do. I kind of want to attack for the face. Yeah, I want to attack for the face. He dies on the end. He's going to follow in the middle. In this situation, I want to puncture. And realistically, what's happening here is I'm just farming for these stone bars. That's really what's happening. I'm not in any real danger. I can get rid of this void. Hold the cards. Technically a misplay, but it kind of doesn't matter. That's very stupid that I'm able to do that. Either way, that's fun. And notice this entire time, I have been very careful about how I want my threat to be handled. This is a very significant part of everything to do with this kind of a build. Energy management, energy creation, and just generally handling the enemy. If I was playing my overcharge as I should be playing it, I'd be constantly ensuring that I have enough energy overcharge to ensure that I will always be safe. It's not something I've been doing, which that's bad on me for doing, but I'm just, it's just mind beyond, right? We're 2 hours into this with me just talking, so it's more important that you learn the mythology behind it so that when you play the game, because this is a good game and everybody should play it, when you play this game, you'll be able to repeat actions that I'm doing. Because it is very much a do as I say, not as I do. A lot of this is easy because I already play card builders, but I want you to be able to put yourself in the mindset, okay, here's how I do it, here's how I'm going to play it, here's how I go about it, and just slowly build that muscle memory up over time. Because that's going to be what decides whether or not you're really going to be having a lot of fun with this game, or if the game's going to annoy the piss out of you. Do this with the energy, now we have our overcharge. Not going to be taking a lot of damage there on the next turn. I'm going to look to swing for this man's head. If I'm not blocking a lot, no, I'm not blocking a lot. Go ahead and get the opener. And I'm going to go ahead and hit him with this shit. Because I'm completely disrespecting him. And indeed, it actually did trigger this twice, I think. It seems like it's active all of the time. I think it'll be. Oh no, they didn't activate at all. Why is this glowing? That's weird. That's very weird. The likelihood that I find 2 voids is going to be very, very low. Hold the cards. Let's switch my shit out. Give me Banes. Kinda don't care. I'll even use them. Doesn't matter. Hold my cards. Still mostly relatively safe. Not in any real danger whatsoever. Here's where the bleed starts stacking up really, really fast. I should do this when I have enough. Or while I have enough, rather. Actually, just use this. Don't have to care about it. Overcharge. Use the Opportunist just because we need to get out in hand. And this is kind of a fairish amount of a value that you're going to expect to have when you get to these battles. These high numbers here can get even higher. I'm not really playing it as lethally as I should. Realistically, if I were playing this properly, I should have another combo card, but I didn't see the heavy combo card that I would usually take. So in that situation, I think taking the 0 cost card in the other situation would have been fine. But it's just not something I needed. Going to first blood here, I think. Yeah. And he just bleeds to death. I wish you could be able to fight all of them, but pick which ones you wanted to do, just to attack the cards. But now we're in the situation where we are now going to the boss. We're looking at cards that we want to increase our viability with. We are definitely going to look at Bloodlust. I think Bloodlust is the best candidate for this stone, simply because it's overcharging and setting up. Puncture isn't going to get anything. Or maybe it should. Maybe it should. Maybe it should. Because this already has draw 3. I don't need it to make it draw 4. However, I should make Puncture draw 1. Just so I can pull through my deck faster. Now, here's where we're going to use all our potions, because there's no reason to hold on to anything here. This is the situation where we have been waiting for. And the Void fight is not as hard as it fucking looks. It's just really fucking obnoxious. Alright, so. You have 2 enemies that come with the Void. In this first section of the fight, it's going to be very, very, very passive. You're going to have the Void Touch constantly attacking you and taunting. Or rather, it's going to have taunt being granted to it from the Void. The Void cannot be hit until both of these are dead. The male Void Touch is going to constantly exhaust you. This is where you're going to want to have something to take out of the deck. And the female is going to be constantly trying to fuck with you through status effects. Unless you have the ability to attack all at the same time, you will never be able to touch the Void. This is why you want to have an equal amount of single target and multi-target. First things first, because of the fact you're going to get attacked a lot, you're going to want a response. And just because it said first 2 played, and I was right, it was first 2 card played will trigger additional time. Now with this up, I have my buffs double. So now playing my Swifts will activate and apply a bleed that will bleed 4 times, which is great for my Swifts. But also, I will gain 4 for every 1 attack action being done by my enemy. I think that just might max out my hand. And since it's turn 1, I'm not in any real danger. So the first person I want to bleed is Void Touched Male, because he's the most annoying person. Those extra exhausts is basically a dead card in my hand. And even if I can get rid of them, I don't want them. So now, we're in this turn. We're going to do 1 agility first. I shouldn't have done that, actually. I should have played the Scattershot first. I'm dumb. We're going to play the agility first. Then, we're going to block. Then, we're going to Scattershot. Then, we're going to underhand, or an opportunist. Then, we're going to swing at his head. The reason I'm doing this in this order is because I want to show you how slowly you can actually go with bleed to start stacking it on the enemy, and how much easy this can get for you. So now, in this situation, we from Shadow to set up, we first blood to get it back, and we just start attack dumping again. Hold on to these cards, and hold on to your Spirit Ward. We're now in a situation where we want to immediately go for face, because I can attack him again now. In his situation, his attacks and his exhaustions are something that you kinda can't deal with. Stunning and losing energy is fucking lame. Bane is just annoying in general, so it is what it is. Situation here. Gonna be looking to Dagger Whirl. Play the Void. And just start swinging again. Since he bleeds to death, it no longer matters what happens there. That'll kill both of them. Now they're out of my face. Play the Puncture twice. Get rid of the Bane. Or play the Puncture once, rather. Why do I keep thinking things are happening? This is what happens when you play video games in the morning, guys. And we're gonna be a dick about it. To his face. Choose a card to discard. Since I have 10, I don't need this. And we're going to overcharge on him again. We're gonna gain energy here. Ram ourselves into his face. Make him hate his life. Have a whole bunch of this. It's gonna overblock for us anyways. And like this, we can just keep fucking him up. Over and over again. Over and over again. I'll actually play the Void here. From the Shadow. Juggle. Get rid of the Exhaustion. I will get rid of the Scatter Shot. And I will get rid of one Shiv. Simply because that's the effect of what I want. Use this. It is applying vulnerable. I'm gonna hold on to the actually no. Nah. Let's get rid of defensive. Juggle cards again. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. Use this. Puncture. Get more cards. Discard Bane again. Accelerate the bleed. Because the effect that's now ticking down is the Void shall exercise restraint. I don't want him to get to 0, because this is when he starts using his Quick Strike, which will start stacking his Frenzy. This is technically the please DPS him to death phase that you have to be worried about. It's not that crazy, but it is enough of a worry and a concern. Then while you're here, just keep doing what you're doing. I'm really feeling not having another stacking card for my agility right now. And that kind of sucks, but it is what it is. So here's where I start acting real scumlord. I'm gonna keep my overcharge up. I'm gonna play all the things that will give that. Play my agility. Then I'll play my dueling. Actually, no. I was gonna say then I play my dueling bucket, but I really don't need to. Now, you can really start seeing the difference of the output. Every single little point of damage is gonna matter here. If it doesn't matter anywhere else, it's gonna matter here. Especially with the use of your potions. In this situation, we're looking at our cards. They actually aren't hurting for energy. So we're not going to care about it. And he's dead.
It's just that easy. It's just that easy.
It's not stressful, not difficult, not hard. A little bit of fandangling here and there, but you read the card effects, you look at what you're doing, slow down, breathe, and it's that good. Now, post-game, you get to choose your card. I guess these are the pre-selected choices that you have available to you. And out of the ones that I've picked Main Gauche because that is a block card that gives me silence, that gives me a Shiv or a Hidden Blade rather. I have picked, well actually I just picked the one I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick Quickness here, I think. Shall I pick Quickness? I'm going to leave that out. Mainly because I'm looking at that purge ability, and that's kind of nice. Right. Go here, go to new game. Just go through it again, look at the cards. I don't care about this. Just as ender at the card of the game. At these cards that you pick. So far with just the rogue class, the bleeding class, is the one that I've been using to really get accustomed to every fight in the game. The first one that I chose to pick was Main Gauche, mainly because it was there and I didn't get the choice for Dueling Buckler. I chose this because of the Hidden Blade. Hidden Blade is strong. I chose Juggle for the same reason, because it's draw power, and it also gives Hidden Blade, which is very strong. It's not just strong because it's damage. It's strong because it's a card that can be targeted for the removal of its effect. You don't always have to use your cards. You don't always have to throw out your damage and just keep stacking effect on effect, like Slay the Spire. A lot of this is tactile understanding of not just when to attack and when to defend, but when to start charging. Dueling Bucklers for the same reason, but in the opposite direction. Whereas this is going to give you 6 to 10. This is a card that you will want to stack with a Bluestone so you can make it do what this does. Realistically, if you stick a blue in this, and you stick a yellow in this, with your Voids, they will technically do a lesser effect of the other two versions. With the mindset that I go in with a little of these cards, I don't want to make every card in my deck do the same thing if it's not blocking. I want them to be very good at the thing that I have picked them for, which is why I like putting blues in here and why I like putting blues in here. I want them to draw through my hand and draw through my deck, because draw power is more important than block. Blocking is good too, but I want to get to my block cards and my attack cards faster. And these two allow me to do that, the way that I choose to play it. Dueling Buckler is less of a card you want to pick other cards, which is what Bluestone does. This is a card where you want to always have Void. You always want black. You always want black. Because once you go black, this 5, even without combo, is 10. This 3 is actually 6. This 5 is actually 10. Then when you have combo, every single part of that combo is going to increase the block counter. So when you have combo up, even if you're using the artifact that will allow you to gain combo when you spend combo the first time in your turn, this will make it really fucking strong and unignorable in your damage. And I'll go out. But game, stop. Game, please. And I'll go out to show you what I mean. Inside of Nvidium. Where is it? Where are you? I believe it is one of these. I forget which one. Combo. Not this one. I believe it is. I haven't gotten that one yet. Where is it? Where are you? Here. You have Amulet of Speed. First time game combo, combo 1. This gives you plus on top of your effects. This is really strong. But the one that I'm thinking of is Fast Kilted. And then also Combo Platter. There's another one that I feel like I'm forgetting, but these cards and how you use them, especially Amulet of Speed. When you combo, you're going to want to stack that quickly so you can attack quickly. And combining all that together, along with cards that are going to pull the way you pull them, it's going to allow you the ability to rush your enemies down faster, especially if you're using them the way that you're using them here. And it's a very good starter class for that. Not just because of the fact that it'll give you damage here in your combo with the key mechanic, but it'll also give you power with this, because with the Blades technique, you're actually going to get a lot of ability to do this, because you're going to start with 2 quickness. You're going to have 2 of them and you're at your start. So it's going to be more about maintaining combo than rather building it up for one big attack and dealing with it, because slash takes care of that in the short run, whereas combo in general and cards that give combo on them will take care of it in the long run. I hope that makes sense. I don't know, my brain turned mush now, but that is it. That is the game. That is the entirety of the game. Overexplained. I hope you have enjoyed. I will see you in the morning, or later in the noon or the night, wherever you are. And have a good one, people. Goodbye.